The quarter two was the best in history of the company, 9.6 billion euro of revenue with a growth of 10% in our energy management business, which is the bulk of the business. The industrial automation is still a little bit slow, as you would expect in this field, and then profitability at a record level of 18.6% adjusted EBITDA and a solid operational cash flow. So we're very happy with the results in H1, and particular Q2, as it gives the direction for the rest of the year.
The market's very punishing, as we saw with Microsoft. I mean, Microsoft, again, huge numbers, but the market is very keen to punish very quickly if it sees spending isn't being matched by increased revenue and profit at the moment as well. Is there any area where you've been quizzed by the analysts at the moment where you're spending aggressively because, and again, we can talk about mega trends in a few moments' time, but they all point to large amounts of spending as well, where the market is being very discerning, saying, okay, you're spending this money, we like the thematic, but we want to see the profits?
So, the big tech companies, of course, rely a lot on cloud and artificial intelligence, which we're the largest builder in respect to infrastructure. So it's good for us in that respect. And, we always try to have a reasonable spend in respect to CapEx, which we're building out and also talking about today to the analysts. But we have a good prosperity, digitization and AI is one of the mega trends that we're following and is very good for us.
What's going on at Discrete Automation? Products, I looked up the official definition of discrete automation: products and parts that are quantifiable in nature, such as industrial processes, assembly lines, etc., packaging could be going in there as well. Why is discrete automation such a blot on what is otherwise a very solid picture?
Well, the industrial automation market, the industrial market worldwide is still in decline. In addition to that, we've seen that a lot of the customers that build machinery have put a lot of materials in stock over time because there was the shortage on electronics. If you remember, a year and a half ago, this is still the aftermath of COVID. But people always look at how we're doing in China, and it's good to see that in H1 both our businesses have grown, while in the industrial world, just marginally. But it's a good sign.
Sorry, you've just piqued me. You've just gone onto the China issue.
That's where I was going to start.
Well, then let's do that. You go. Then go on.
Exactly.
There's another question.
Particularly on your industrial automation segment of your business, are you beginning to see the heavy strain that China perhaps might have on that part of your business? Or is there some sustainability along the way?
So, when you look at our China business, which is the second largest market for Schneider Electric, we said in 23, we said that we would be growing in China, and everybody thought this was couldn't come to fruition, but we did. And then in Q1, both our businesses grew, and then if you look at the H1 result, also both of our businesses are growing, while the industrial automation business is roughly flattish, if you want to say. But that's a good sign in that respect.
Yeah. Where then are you finding the growth compared to other players in that same market? Because if you're able to find growth, why are some of the others perhaps struggling in that way? Is it just a diversification of portfolio? Have you managed risks differently? Spending?
So, we're trying to operate with what we call a multi-hub model. So everybody who works in China, all the way to the executive committee that also sits in China, can make decisions locally, from production, from R&D, from purchasing, and also how they direct the people to the clients. So we have the pulse at the market locally, and that has always helped and is also helping again.
Peter, I'm very aware of the key megatrends, and the message from Schneider is sustainability, AI, digitization. At least two of those we've talked about a lot previously and with your team. AI is problematic as far as I can see. Yes, as I spoke with Jochen earlier on from Siemens Healthineers, there are some stunning opportunities. But when I read a headline such as Google's greenhouse gas emissions in 2023 were 48% higher than in 2019, according to its latest environmental report. That says to me AI is sucking up so much energy, so much computing power, that actually some of the initiatives you're making elsewhere are being overwhelmed. Am I wrong?
So data centers do need energy, but the question is how can you build them out in the most sustainable way? Also, how can you use renewable energies respectively? Now, if we divide AI into two elements, one is training the model, which really needs a lot of energy, but that can be done in areas where you have a lot of a renewable energy and you don't need to be that close to the fiber network, while the inference model using AI is closer to the fiber, but they don't need so much energy.
But Peter, whether it's Iceland, whether it's elsewhere in Scandinavia, I'm seeing local grids where there is vast amount of sustainable energy. I'm seeing it overwhelmed and local populations getting fed up with it because they've done all the right things on sustainability. They've taken the Peter Herweck model as well, but they are being overwhelmed. And if a company that has such green credentials as Google, which it has done previously, is failing ignominiously, that says to me we've got a big problem.
The energy consumption is indeed a problem, and there are countries that are saying, we're gonna slow down the build out. But also for companies like ourselves, I've said to our clients, this is not exponentially possible. Where we have people that are on the ground that make the data center in action. We need to manufacture equipment, so that does take some time. So there is going to be a reasonable build out. Of course, there is a race to it, but there are also good examples. Like in Sweden, we've built data centers where the excess heat is going to be used to heat people's houses, in winter. So it's all about finding these new concepts, respectively, and the grid build-out, where we're also active, is also happening as we speak.
Well, you can use your influence as the world's most sustainable company, according to Time, which I noticed was at the top of your results as well. I'm surprised you didn't get that one in before I got it in.
I did.
Oh, you did? Oh, I beg your pardon.
I started
oh, you're absolutely right.
No.
Again, beautifully trained by your comms team, Peter. Well, they'll be pleased with that one. You get a full mark for that one. But in terms of the politics globally as well, do we have a problem that's actually going to affect your... I know the Schneider model in